Let the insults and sarcasm begin. You're listening to Raw Mike Richards, heard only on Newstalk Sauga 960.
Raw Mike Richards, as I'm pleased, Gary Collins, and I guess I have to say not that Gary Collins, but no one really knows the other guy anymore, do they? Do you get that?
I used to get it in the U.S. when I traveled there all the time.
And even probably from a distance? Like if you're on a plane and they just saw this part, you're like, oh my God, that is Gary Collins.
I do know that he was married to Marianne Mobley, Miss America 1954.
No, he did well, I think. Well, you've done well too, my friend.
I've done okay.
Yeah, well, are people not listening? Yeah, and of course, Jay Barker, our longtime friend, the reason that we go to Hockley Valley. Now, it's July the 17th, not 17th.
July 17th.
July 17th this year at Hockley Valley, Aidens Drive in our hopefully great attempt to rid ourselves of epilepsy. I think the ultimate goal is to what? Find medication that works. And for people listening here today, they know that we are spokespeople on behalf of Epilepsy Canada, and each and every year we feel more grateful to be a part of something so amazing. And if you really, really want to get the feel of why we're so pleased and fulfilled by working with these guys, if you come to Hockley Valley for Aidens Drive, and now the golf part is sold out itself, so the foursomes are gone, but you have the dinner, you have the auctions, and when you meet the people involved in this organization, you'll feel like Dave and I did from the first minute. We got to help, we got to do something, because these people are unbelievable.
And you'll probably get to see me cry at the event as well.
Did you cry last year?
I cry every year.
Yeah.
Then I happen to look down at Gary, and Gary looks all emotional, and then I lose it. But, telling the story of my son, it gets pretty emotional at the tournament for sure. Yeah,
adorable too. And he was there last year, which, look.
He takes after his father.
With all the things that he's got to battle, though, that was pretty big that he was there, because that wasn't easy either, because you never know if you're having a good day or a bad day. It really kind of depends, right?
Well, especially with his autism as well. We didn't have him there at the first year because we were just unsure. It's a very long day for a 5-year-old, and we thought we'd give it a go last year, and he actually did really well.
Great,
so I felt it was important for him to be there, for everyone to get to see him, to meet him, and he's coming back again this year.
Well, as people, maybe you're listening for the first time, maybe you're listening on the podcast. Becoming involved with epilepsy was Jay reaching out to myself, because I didn't have necessarily a personal and firsthand knowledge of epilepsy, someone who suffered from it, because the reality is, and this I think is the God's honest truth, for a lot of people who have it, when they first think they might, number one, they may not recognize it, and number two, once they do, they might hide it. They may not want to come through with it. And Gary, you're a great example of it, because people really, truly, and if you're listening here this morning, or as I said later on in the podcast, they're like, well, what exactly is it? Explain epilepsy to people listening here today.
Thanks, Mike. I think in the simplest form, epilepsy is a short circuit in the brain. Our brains are made of electrons, and what happens is there's a short. There's a short, and that causes a seizure. That's the most simple explanation of what epilepsy is. And it depends on where it happens. Most people think that epilepsy is one seizure. It's actually 20-plus strands of different types of seizures. So we're just trying to find a cure for one of those strands.
Just one of them.
If we get one, we've accomplished our objective. We'll try and get many more, but just get one at a time.
Now, for you, and people are like, okay, when does it happen? What are the signs? Well, because you said there is a variance in what that is, for Aiden, that's Jay's son, it was immediately? How would you describe how this comes about for you and your at this point, baby?
Yeah, he, we didn't know that he had it. We found him in his crib having one. We didn't know what was going on at the time. And even now, because of his developmental delay and his autism, he can't tell me that he has an aura or he feels something coming on. Most recently, he was sitting on my wife Mariah's lap, and it was like he knew one was coming on, because he had this fear of God look on his face, and he held on to Mariah really tight.
Now, when you said aura, people probably don't know what you're saying. What do you mean aura?
Well, I mean, Gary could probably explain it a lot better than I could, but just this.
So for myself, I had a deja vu dream, and it was the same each time. So when I was first diagnosed, I could have a sense of I was having this nightmare while standing up, while I was awake, and it was the same. And it was about 30 to 60 seconds. So I had about a minute to get on the floor and know that something was going to happen. And it was the same. So mine was a dream sequence. Other people, it's a smell. And so everyone sort of has a distinct aura that it happens pre the seizure. And then it depends on how much time you have before you get that aura and the seizure actually takes place. As I said, I was really fortunate. I had a minute to get to the floor, to get somewhere where I wasn't going to hurt myself.
So hold on. So you're in the office, and I'm saying anybody. So you walk around the office, you're talking to Sally, and you turn around. You start seeing a familiar dream, but you're standing, you're conscious, you're not sleeping, you're...
That's correct.
So
yes.
What was yours? What happens?
It was a nightmare, and I actually, at night, I try not to dream because I fear that dream coming back.
What is it? Can you share that with it?
It's really difficult. It's like you're in a trap somewhere, and then the trap door opens, and then it's the same sequence all the time, and then you're falling, and then something happens. So it's the same. It's like you've been there before. It's that deja vu feeling, like I've been here before.
Now your eyes, so they're open.
Yes.
Does someone go, why are you kind of standing frozen as this is happening?
Yes. So you get to a point you say, something's happening. I'm standing there. I get the dream sequence, and then I just go and sit somewhere, or I lie down.
Or you lie down?
Yes.
Because you know that a seizure is coming.
Something's coming, yes.
Now, is it sort of, as we might understand, like a petite mal or a grand mal? Do those describe what you get?
I get a grand mal. So it's a full-out seizure, and it lasts about a minute and a half. And I'm fortunate that it only lasts that long.
Now for you, people should understand, as much as we talked about Jay and Aiden's age, you were not a baby when this happens.
No, I was 30 years old when I was finally diagnosed, and I'd had 5 of them since I was 20, but each time I was by myself, and I thought I was fainting. And so my doctor just said, well, you're working too hard, you're playing too hard, stop partying, and take care of yourself. And I'd do that, and then about every 2 years, I'd have another one. So finally, when I had one at 30, I was in an office somewhere, and I had a seizure, fell and hit my head, and had to get taken to the hospital, where I had 3 more seizures. So finally diagnosed when someone saw it.
In each of those circumstances, are you having that deja vu weird dream?
Same one.
Since the age of 20?
Yeah, scary.
That's unbelievable. Jay?
And Aiden is, most of his happen at nighttime when he is sleeping. And he will shoot up and sit straight up when he's about to have one. And that's how we know that something's coming on. Then we have to lay him down, and he kind of goes off into a daze, and then his eyes start moving back and forth like the old typewriter return.
So he'd have to be in the same room as you for this to be recognized.
He is in the same room.
Yes.
He actually sleeps in the same bed as us. And
I get
judge if you want, but you don't.
Look, if you want to judge on what you guys have been through and what your son goes through, you go ahead.
His seizures are quiet, so I don't have a choice. I can't have him in another room and not know what's going on.
Right, totally. Yeah. Anyone would understand that. Yeah. This is not, a 17-year-old. You probably shouldn't be in that bad. Like my son. Hey, what do you think's on TV? You're 27. Could you? But for that, and people saying, well, what about the medication? So then I would assume, and this is why we have the tournament, there are and have been attempts at what you believe to be successful medications or cocktails that can curtail this. But it changes. And for Gary, and so we've known each other for a couple of years now.
Too long.
And 2 years too long for you, I'm sure. And I guess about a year ago, you had told me the cocktails that we're working and doing a pretty good job were also causing another problem.
Yeah, the medication I was on since 30 were stopping my seizures for the most part. I've only had 3 since then. But the side effects were just killing me. And so last summer, I was fortunate to spend some time with Dr. Peter Carlin at Toronto Western Hospital. We were going to do a presentation together in Sarnia. And he asked me what med I was on. I told him, and then he started to say, do you have this side effect? Do you have this side effect? Do you have this? And then he said, and how are your mood swings? And I looked at him and said, I think I'm going crazy.
Were you having, like, how bad?
Intense.
Yeah.
I could go from happy to in a rage in a second and a half.
And see, I couldn't even imagine you being that way. I mean, for how I know you, that would be very scary.
It was. I could tell intellectually that, I was taking things way too seriously, or I just react terribly. And so I told Peter that, and Peter said, you have to get off that drug. It's killing you.
And he knew.
He knew. And so we went through all the testing again last August, and through September, I transitioned drugs. So I'm on a new med, and Mike, it was a miracle. In October, as I'm coming off the old drug and just on the new drug, sort of this veil of darkness came off my head, and I could see again.
Well, it is scary. And I said, when you get to know somebody, and your significant other came up and we were talking, she said, this is that time. It's not good. Like he's going through a bad time here. And you get to know someone, it's upsetting. Like immediately I'm upset. And there's a panic from your friends, because you desperately want to find something. At least you can articulate it. At least intellectually and everything else. At this age, you're saying what's going on. For Jay, you have none of that.
It's a complete crapshoot. And actually, this past Monday we went back to McMaster Children's Hospital for a second opinion, and thank God that we did. I mean, we're now on our 5th epilepsy medication with Aiden, and still to this point we haven't been able to control it. However, the new neurologist that we met with, he had stated that the medication that he's currently on isn't good for children who have autism, because the autism adds that extra brain activity going on.
Yeah, I mean, people have to understand you've got both of those issues happening at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And it also, this medication Trileptal that he's on also spikes the brain activity at nighttime. And coincidentally or not coincidentally, that's when Aiden has most of his seizures. Yeah. So we're going through a whole reevaluation of everything and looking to change his meds now. So, I mean, knock on wood, I hope this will we'll be able to come up with some sort of cocktail that'll be able to at least stop his seizures from now. Because, I mean, when he has 2 different types of seizures. He'll have an absence seizure, which only lasts about 5 minutes, where he'll stare off into space and then he'll come back. When he has a grand mal, unlike Gary, it can go up to 45 minutes. It can last really long, and it's scary. It's not good.
45 minutes.
Yep.
Grand mal.
Yeah, we have medications at home that can stop it, but as of late, doesn't always do the trick. We need to get the paramedics. They're quite familiar with our address and who we are, and they need to come and oftentimes administer a second drug, which always does stop it. But by the time you're into that process and by the time they arrive, you're looking at about 45 minutes before it could stop, and who knows what kind of damage that's doing.
For those listening today that are parents, I know you're thinking what I've always thought when Jay tells these, and they're not stories, they're moments and chunks of their life that I'm sure are horrifying, the panic that must go through. And then you start to add up just how much time you've taken in caring for your child, and you realize, like, people in teams and sports, they like to say, "Oh, there's no time off, no days off." Well, your life is dedicated to the well-being of your son. Absolutely. It's just that's what you have done, or that's what you have found yourself in. What you have done is decided to not, and I don't know how to put it, not be angry, not be that person, because I think it would be very easy to go, look at us, look at what we have to put up with. And this is a very easier age to say, well, look at what we're going through, look what we're suffering through, woe is us. And you've done the opposite. As you have, Gary. It's people saying, all right, if this is what I've got, it's funny, not funny, but it's ironic that the person that we found out lately is someone that I've known since I was 5, who announces that she has been fighting mental illness and depression, and not so much bipolar, but these mental health issues since she was 12, and I never knew. She also could take a route of, you don't know what it's like. and she's become like a spokesperson. She was just in the Markham Hospital run, Shoppers Drug Mart run for women. You have taken it head on. You've decided that you want to fight it. And everyone in that room that will be there that night on the 17th is on the team, so to speak. I don't know how else to put it. You don't even have to, like for myself, I'm on the team. I'm competitive. I want to win. I don't want to see my friend go, well, what about in a year if they found that this is not the cure? This is not the thing. And I would think there's some parents, including you would almost have full rights when that thing goes sideways that Aiden has been taking. You're like, hey, buddy, did you go to school for this? Was C good enough to get in? Because I got to be honest, we are going another way. It would be very easy to do that to these doctors, because I think they're experimenting too. They don't. If they knew, we wouldn't be doing this. So that, I mean, I would think that your frustration at time, they must understand if it does slightly boil over the top.
Oh, absolutely. And I actually had to apologize to the new neurologist I met. I said, look, I mean, I'm going to be very aggressive because I know just enough to make me dangerous. So I apologize if I come across that way, but we've been living with this now for 2.5 years and it's not getting any better. And in fact, it seems like it's getting worse. So, I'm his parent. He's my little man. I got to take care of him. I got to make sure he's healthy and he's with us for the long run. So I will do whatever it takes, to find that right cocktail until we can find that cure.
And also, full-time job. So, and you don't live around the corner from your job.
No.
So you've got travel, you got a full-time job. You're married to the loveliest woman. So
easy.
Once you leave, once you go back to work here, I'm off. And she has been spectacular. But she's also someone who's not from this country and has issues of where she would like maybe some of her family, i.e. her mom, to be with her. I mean, your life, of all the people that I know, is the most challenging, bar none. And it's not close. Yet I think your attitude is incredible. I mean, you're one of the more remarkable people that I know. I mean, we joke all the time.
He is remarkable.
Yeah. I don't know how to explain it, except if you are listening and you want to help, there are ways to do it. And golfing, because it's obviously a lot of fun, and we're going to broadcast live that morning, and we're thrilled about that. But there are also other ways that you can help for this evening.
Absolutely. We have a live and silent auction, so we are still collecting items right up until a couple days before the event. So, people can reach out to me through Raw Mike Richards, through the website at epilepsy.ca. We take any items from women's goods to electronics to booze, anything you can really think of that can be auctioned off. We take it. It's funny. I was at a day spa the other day, not the Robert Kraft type of day spa, but I was picking up a spa day donation.
Right.
And the lady at the front desk, she goes, "Oh, epilepsy. I have epilepsy as well." So, I mean, I would bet that there's people in everybody's lives that you don't even know have epilepsy. Growing up, I knew one person in 36 years with epilepsy, and I've met hundreds over the last 2.5, 3 years, and it's remarkable. People don't talk about it.
It's also exactly. It's why I know we're still not close. We're not there. Because I'm not getting bugged enough about it. People aren't saying, "Hey, but you also, right? You're a spokesperson for Epilepsy Canada." I'm still not getting that, which means I, for my mind, haven't done a good enough job. Now, look, we're new at this. The station this is maybe the second or third studio you've been in since we started this, but you can see where this is kind of going. This is starting to look familiar. It's starting to look like what we're supposed to be doing. Part of my feelings on this is that the higher that I raise this profile, I can start doing the real work that I have always wanted to do for Epilepsy Canada. So that's all a part of it. And when you go to this evening, Gary, and then we're talking about July the 17th in Hockley Valley, there's also a winery there too. I mean, it's and one of the most beautiful pools. Like you wouldn't think you're in Canada, to be honest, when you're there. But the speakers that will be there, and it's always a beautiful dinner. Like the food is always top notch. That you'll meet other like-minded people who it's a brother or a sister. It's the reason why they've done certain things. It's the reason why someone climbs was it Mount Kilimanjaro?
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, that is just, I mean, and these people they're like angels. But they're funny angels. They're smart angels. They are people who work very hard. They're very successful people, and yet you come together for this common goal. It's probably one of my favorite nights of the whole year, bar none. And every year we seem to get gorgeous weather. I know God smiles on us a little bit for doing this, and I just can't tell you how wonderful that night is. And Dave and I get up there and we do the auction. But I think for someone like yourself, Gary, you must look back and go, well, we've got to be doing something right, because I think all the right people are showing up.
That's very, very true. And one on your point, Michael, we found another angel. And we have a young woman in Regina, Saskatchewan. Her name is Aurora Ryder. She was diagnosed when she was 11 years old. She's 14 now. And she has decided to walk the Camino de Santiago in Spain, which is 800 kilometers.
Yes.
It's a pilgrimage that's very, very famous. And she and her mother are going to walk the 800 kilometers. We are looking to find other walkers. We want to take a team over to Spain and walk the last 100 kilometers with her at the 1st of August, right after Aidens Drive. So we're looking for walkers. We're looking for people who would like to do an adventure. It's 7 days. We're looking for corporate sponsors for this event. Aurora is just an angel in terms of what she's been through. And again, she's still not seizure-free. But she wants to raise money for epilepsy research. She wants to help find a cure. And at 14 years old, this is a
14.
significant undertaking. So again, go to epilepsy.ca, you look at Aidens Drive, find some opportunity there, but also look at Aurora Ryder and Aurora's Way. It's significant.
Aurora's Way? It's called Aurora's Way.
Aurora's Way, yeah. And we're very excited for her.
And what's even better, a girl from Saskatchewan whose last name is Ryder. I mean, come on. That is
spelled a little differently, but it is Ryder.
It's close enough. It doesn't matter. They all scream it the same way. Isn't that fantastic? Well, look, guys, as I said, one of the things that Dave and I, even in starting rawmicrichards.com, is we hoped that we could do something that was not being fulfilled or done for us at our previous place of employment. I mean, we for Dave and I, we enjoyed working at TSN 1050. I just don't know how much we contributed to anybody. And I came from a radio station previously at the Fan in Calgary where we did that a lot. Whether it was Big Brothers or Big Sisters, we were involved in the community. I was out coaching high school football every day. I felt like I was doing something that was more than just turning on the radio and, doing some impressions and talking about scores and having some fun. And so this is the first time that we really felt like we were starting to do something that was important. It was paying it forward. It was being involved with something that we didn't necessarily have a personal understanding of. And of course, now that's all it is. Now it's very incredibly personal for us. So the fact that you're here today, the fact that we are allowed to be a part of it, because we really do not take it for granted, and again, to extremely good friends as well, which is, I think, the other part of it is that we've got some skin in the game now. Like, we have friends who are affected by it. And if you tell me something's not working, or I hear something about your son, we go home, we're not having a good day either. Like, it's upsetting. So when you get those brief moments of doing the right thing and doing the good thing, where I get to see Mariah and she's getting a break, because I can only imagine what it's like not getting a break in your circumstance. But to see her laugh or smile, it means the world to us. We know that we're doing something that we're supposed to do. And with the help of, Newstalk Sauga 960 and where we've come from, we're only going to try harder. So once again, if you're listening here this morning and you want to be a part of it and go, okay, all right, Richards, let's, I'll buy a ticket. I'll come to this dinner. I'll see what it's about. How do they go about doing that for Aidens Drive, July the 17th?
So you can go right onto epilepsy.ca, click on the events tab at the top, go to Aidens Drive. You can register for the dinner. Come spend some time with us at the live and silent auction. You can even come in a little early, spend the night before. It's a resort up there at Hockley Valley, so they have a lot to offer. You can go to the winery during the day when everyone's golfing. Unfortunately, the golf is sold out, or fortunately, the golf is already sold out. But it just goes to show how popular this event is. It was before the Masters when we were sold out, and I really didn't have to put a lot of effort into it, to be honest with you.
Well, you say that, but I know there's a lot of effort that goes into this thing. Trust me, I do know that. So maybe we'll put that link out today.
Absolutely.
We'll put the link out today so I can retweet it. So, yeah, we'll step down here. Guys, thanks so much for coming in. I mean, it's always a good day when I see your faces. So thank you so much. And we look forward to Gorgeous Day in July. We'll broadcast live that morning. And we'll get some money and hopefully beat this damn thing.
Thanks for having us.
Michael.
We really appreciate it.
You just got your morning drive back. Raw Mike Richards on Newstalk Sauga 960 with traffic on the 5s, featuring the best and most detailed West End traffic in the GTA. Raw Mike Richards and traffic on the 5s, exclusively on Newstalk Sauga 960.